Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video. Although this is a video intended for viewers to study or fall asleep to, I still feel that it should have a brief introduction about what to expect from the following content. In this video, we will be exploring the subconscious of the average Reddit user. That's right, we're going to be exploring the mysterious world of dreams. Yay! Anyways, it was created in 2011, making it 14 years old. Its sole purpose is to provide a place for people to describe their dreams. It's fairly obscure, which is both good and bad. It's good because my channel is intended to introduce you to things that you won't find anywhere else on this platform, but it's bad because there's people having amazing and interesting dreams out there that we'll never get to hear about. Sad face. Anyway, if for some reason you're a psychopath and you're gonna watch this video all the way through, I love you. And finally, this video has been brought to you by Squarespace. Nah, I'm just kidding. I only have 57 subscribers, so if you're new, please subscribe, like, and click the bell to support the channel. It'll really help me. And with all that being said, try not to have a nightmare as we explore the subconscious of the following users. Have a good sleep, little one. Mwah! Entry number 1. Written by user/Lord_Nuke. So I went to sleep last night, launching right into the wild method of lucid dreaming. I had a plan, and needed as much lucid time as possible. I slipped into a dream state, crawled out of bed as I usually do during a wild attempt, and exited my bedroom into a large green field. There was no sign of anything other than a distant tree line. This would do nicely. I close the door behind me and make it disappear. I won't be needing it. My plan is to gather energy in this dream and then send it beyond the dream. The destination isn't important for the sake of this post. It's just something I've recently thought of after reading some other dream-related posts online, and it gives me a new way to try and test my boundaries. So I start gathering energy. I want to build a base of it with the best I can get. So I do things spirit bomb style. Most of my powers and abilities that I like to give myself in lucid dreams stem from Dragon Ball Z inspiration, as well as other anime and video games. The river, the trees, the wind, and all things living in nature. Offer me your fighting spirit. I speak as I reach my arms out and begin gathering energy. I visualize the world, rivers and oceans, all kinds of plant and animal life, and people. Hopeful people. People yearning for a better world. I even reach out to the sun itself. The energy pours in quickly, and it's warm. Just hopeful energy. The flowing of water and wind, the hardness of stone or bark, the warmth of sunlight. Energy ready to be used in its rawest form. It's at this point that I notice him. A man in a stereotypical Men in Black suit and shades. He's near the tree line, watching me through binoculars. He doesn't matter right now though. I have important work to do, and I know the first few dreams of my night aren't going to last too long, even with dream perception of time. I begin forming the energy into a huge ball above me. I make it take on the appearance of the sun, but smaller. The plan is, when it reaches its destination, it will line up with the sun, hiding itself by appearing the same size as the sun and in the same position. Like how the moon is much smaller than the sun, but appears the same size in our sky due to being closer. That didn't make much sense, but I'm effectively focusing this intent into it and in essence, programming this energy. I include an outer layer of energy, meant to be used as fuel to propel it, so it doesn't have to feed on itself to get to where it's going. I also put what could be best described as holy intent into the energy. It would have beneficial properties for those who are good and would be especially harmful and repellent to those who are evil. Dream monsters would burn just by touching it, while dreamers and dream heroes would be healed and soothed, and they could also use this energy more effectively. I then hear a voice shout,
"Hey! Stop what you're doing!"
The sudden screaming shakes my focus. It's the strange man from earlier. He's running towards me.
"What you're doing is forbidden! Release it immediately!"
I stare right at him, leaving the ball of energy for the time being. It's self-sustaining, so there's no releasing it at this point. I'm sorry, but this is pretty important. If you want to wait while I finish, I'll talk to you when I'm done. I turn back around to resume my work, but he yells again. This time, he has a strange weapon drawn. It kinda looks like the compliance regulator from Fallout New Vegas. Look here, buddy, I say, now a bit amused. I know you're just a figment of my subconscious, but this is my dream, so you're gonna follow my rules. His arms dropped, I think in shock. He pulled out a handheld radio from somewhere and spoke into it.
All units, I need backup immediately. He's lucid. I repeat, I need backup immediately. Subject is lucid.
At this point, all hell breaks loose. Dozens of identical men start appearing from out of the trees. Vans pull up from roads that weren't even there previously, and more of these men get out. A helicopter swoops in and drops off more. At this point, there's more than 100 of them. I can't even tell the difference between any of them. They all have the same gun, and all of them are aiming at me. At this point, my giant mini sun of spirit energy is complete, so it's time for me to put some real meat into it. Rather than drawing energy from everywhere, I tap into the huge energy I have at my disposal and project a large beam from me to the ball. The ball begins swelling rapidly as I feed it as much energy as I can as quickly as I can. My combat energy will blend with the energy already there, taking on the properties of the gathered energy and providing substance. Something hits my shoulder. I look, and it seems one of the agents has fired on me. I barely even feel it. He speaks again.
What you're doing is forbidden. Cease immediately.
The sky starts to go blurry, and I realize that the dream is coming to an end. I cut off my energy flow and wrap the ball in an extra layer to keep it until I come back. I hope it works. I've never had a continuing dream, just reoccurring ones. As everything starts to fade, I look at the agent and say, "Sorry, maybe next time. Waking up now." And with that, the dream ends, and I wake up in my bed. I take a quick trip to the bathroom and then begin a wake back to bed / wild combo attempt to get back to work as soon as possible. Part 2. My repeat attempt at wild is successful. I once again climb out of my bed, leaving my sleeping body behind, and open my door to the same open field from previously. No sign that I was there before, no sign of any agents, just a field, some grass, and the tree line. I step into it and close the door behind me. I immediately feel an immense energy. It's the giant ball from previously. I'm relieved to see it did persist. I was worried I should have sent it before the last dream ended. However, it's exactly how I left it. I begin pouring energy into it again, and almost immediately hear the sound of helicopters and vans. God damn it, the agents from last time. They gather again, and this time there seem to be even more of them. Guns drawn, and one begins shouting.
Cease this action immediately. It's forbidden and violates all law. You are under arrest. Come peacefully.
At this point, I'm not so amused. I don't need this distraction. I close my eyes, picturing the field empty, except for myself and the energy ball. You don't exist now, I say, and open my eyes. Every single agent is still standing there. The main speaker has a smirk.
Those sort of tricks don't work on us.
He fires. I know I'm dreaming, and the blast from his gun has no effect, but it's annoying. What's more concerning is how they're still there. I've been able to will anything into or out of existence in my dreams. Elves, giant dream monsters, overpowered anime villains, and even behemoths such as Godzilla and Cthulhu. He's still there, however, and every single agent is now taking aim at me. This is my dream, and it will work, I state. I close my eyes again and I picture the same dreamscape I pictured before entering. The empty, peaceful, vibrant field. The tree line, a nice sunny day. Nothing there but nature. I convince myself that this is where I am right now, and there's nobody else but me. I open my eyes. The agents are still there, and there's more of them now. They begin to shoot at me.
That won't work. You don't have a chance. Surrender now.
I'm a bit annoyed and frustrated. Well, then your guns don't exist, I shout. Suddenly, the shooting stops, as every single agent is empty-handed and confused. Interesting, I comment, almost under my breath. I see another helicopter flying in with more reinforcements. I look at it and say, that helicopter doesn't exist. Suddenly, the helicopter is gone, and the passengers hang suspended in the air. 4 agents and a pilot. I wasn't expecting this. They plummet to the ground and land with a sickening crunch. They don't get up. I feel bad about it, but I still have a job to do. I resume pouring energy into the ball. It's considerably bigger and stronger from when I started, still looking every bit like the sun. It's pretty impressive at this point, and this is the assessment of someone who always has Dragon Ball Z fighting style dreams with massive energy battles. Suddenly, an impact, and I go spinning and tumbling.
Did you just tap me?
I'm interrupted by several more impacts. The agents are all piling onto me. They're punching, kicking, and trying to hold me down. I wait, enduring the blows, until I figured they've got about as many of them on the pile as they can manage, and then I stand up. No struggle, no real effort. I just stand up and shrug the entire pile off of me. Many of them go flying and land nearby. They're slow to get back up. Did you actually try to physically restrain me in my own dream while I'm fully lucid and brimming with energy as I build something truly massive? I say, staring at the closest agent. He glares at me.
You must cease what you're doing. Immediately. It's forbidden. If you do not cease, you will be punished.
If I don't cease what? This? As I say this, I stop feeding the ball energy. It's ready. It's more than ready. I send it. I was picturing this giant ball of energy slowly ascending and disappearing into space, towards parts unknown. Instead, it kind of shimmers and begins rotating rapidly. As it does, it begins to fade. I can still feel it's full of energy, so I know it's not just fizzling out, but I'm not sure what it's doing. As it does this, every single agent attacks me. Rather than fight them hand to hand, I release a pulse of energy, sending them flying in all directions. I'm too distracted by what this energy ball is doing to focus on anything else. It rotates faster and faster and fades and shimmers and seems to vibrate. It's making some sort of high-pitched humming noise now, and the wind has picked up considerably. Some of the agents are blown around, while others stand their ground. Suddenly, the ball isn't there. I can still feel it, but it feels far away. I can't see it, and the wind has died. I can still reach out and sense it, and it's still complete, with every bit of energy I've given it. But I can't place where it is. I try to teleport to it, and can't. I just can't grasp its location, other than outside. But outside of what? The agents are picking themselves up. They look angry, but it's all fading as the dream ends. I wake up in my bed, but just roll over and go to sleep. I don't even bother with the wild this time, since I've done my job. Entry number 2. Written by Pazuzu Soup. I am in a small ethereal chamber. It was circular in shape, fully surrounded by steps leading up to the perimeter of tall marble columns like a Greek atrium. Beyond the pillars there is nothing, only a soft pink light as far as my eye can see, and a mist that gently rolls forward like the seashore lapping at my feet. In the very center of the atrium chamber, the mist is thicker, like smoke, and it seems to emanate from a disembodied natural light source. I am curious as to what it is, yet I have a contentment of subconscious understanding, and I don't need to find out. I feel no need to sleep, nor eat or drink. I feel like all my needs are met, and I long for nothing. There is a deep feeling of serenity, like I have transcended all responsibility and worry. I am at true peace. A silhouette emerges from the light source, revealing itself to be an elderly man. He looks curious and a little nervous, but as he walks out of the light, it is clear he is happy and serene. We do not exchange names, for somehow names seem irrelevant. He speaks to me and fondly recalls memories from his youth. We sit on the steps of the chamber and I listen to his entire story, from his early school years to growing and finding love, having a family, his friends, etc. Hours pass, maybe days, even weeks. It's hard to tell, as time has no meaning in this place. We sit, and I listen as he takes me on a journey of his life. As he concludes, he tells me of the sorrow in having to say goodbye to those he loved. I feel like I knew them too. I had just learned everything about them to what felt like my own personal experiences. I sympathize, but he explains of his newfound inner peace, the same contentful bliss I had initially felt when arriving at this place, and he was no longer unhappy. I understand where I am now. This is the afterlife. I don't feel a sharp jolt of realization, but like an existing subconscious comprehension had now made it to evident reality. I'm not afraid, sad, or disquiet. I remain grounded in my constant state of serenity. In the blink of an eye, he is gone. I am happy for him. He found everlasting tranquility after living a full and enriched life. More people come and go, some ready to embrace this final step, and some arriving just to escape a troubled mortal existence. Everyone has their own story to tell, and each find their existential happiness and ultimate rest. I listen to them all, and feel a deep and soothing connection to each person and their newfound repose. And then, she arrives. In the celestial light, I hear a frightened whimper. It takes me a while to find her. There is no silhouette nor a person visible in the room. A small, frightened voice says,
Mommy!
And I look down in its direction. Sitting on the ground, pulling her knees up to her chest, is a small girl, no older than 3 years old. She is confused, scared, and disorientated. Her eyes meet mine, and then she begins to sob.
I want my mommy.
Being a parent of a toddler, I instinctively pick her up in a reassuring hug. She doesn't know where she is, but I know why she's here, and my heart breaks. She doesn't fight a stranger's hug. She is so frightened by the sudden change that she clings to me for comfort. Her panic state and unrelenting tears make it hard for me to settle her. I never let her go the entire time. I'm no longer at peace. I'm distraught. She eventually calms enough to find her voice, and she asks,
Where's mommy?
I don't have the strength to tell her, and the reality of the truth is twisting my insides like a cloth being wrung out. I'm sure your mommy's here somewhere. I lied. Maybe we can wait here for her to come get you. This seems to placate her for a bit, and she tells me her name is Evie. She was just playing with her toys while her mom was making dinner.
And then I put the toy in my mouth like this.
And as she's telling me this, a deep feeling of dread sinks within me. I know why she's here. Evie, you poor little thing. What have you done? I begin to weep uncontrollably. This is too soon for her. She doesn't deserve this. It's not fair.
It's okay, mister. My mummy will be here soon for us.
She innocently says. In my mind, I envision the turmoil her parents will go through when they find her. I picture her laying motionless in her room with a small toy lodged in her airway. Her parents will panic. They'll do everything they can to try and save her, but they won't. I know this because she's here with me. I know where she is, and I know why she's here. But this poor, innocent child, this beautiful child, she does not. Inside, I am now consumed with absolute agony. I want to comfort her, but I cannot give her what she wants. I close my eyes, and I am swallowed by my grief. All I can do is cry. I'm so sorry, Evie. Entry number 3, written by user/ElectricGate3730. I once was a goddamn sentient bowl of salad in a coffee shop, and nobody wanted to eat me. Entry number 4, written by Comfortable Guard 506. I now have a constant fear of seals. Once I had a dream where I was a 4th grader, and there was a seal on the school playground. And all of a sudden, it started chasing and killing people, so everyone in the building evacuated to the school bus, and it dropped us off to our houses. But for some reason, it had specific beef with me, and it started driving a semi-truck and rammed it into my house. I woke up in a cold sweat. Ever since, I've been wondering what this dream meant. So if anyone can help decipher it, thank you. Entry number 5, written by user/DreamAgentNeo. To start, I haven't had a nightmare in over 12 years, not counting a small case of sleep paralysis at 15. I'm 25 now. The last nightmare I had, I was in elementary school. It was one where I was being chased, but besides that, to this day, I have never experienced any dream resulting in uncontrollable awakenings of suspense or fear. Any dreams I have that take such a turn, 100% of the time result in the awakening of an ability I call Neo. Neo is a combination of either lucidity and partial dream control, aka Neo 1, or no lucidity and automated dream control, aka Neo 2. Neo 1 allows me to gain full awareness of my dream, but only partial dream control. Settings and life forms are hard set, but with my awareness, I can utilize my imagination to give myself abilities to overcome situations and complete objectives. Neo 2 keeps my awareness NPC-like, but a fixed set of abilities manifest for me to use in defense situations. These abilities are super strength, invincibility, flight, telekinesis, and eldritch magic. I've fought against mercenaries, soldiers, and double agents with strength alone. I've battled Archons, demons, and a lich while flying and casting spells through hellish landscapes. I've killed, trapped, and banished demons on multiple occasions, some pretending to be my companions. Of course, with Neo, I have the ability to wake myself up, although I rarely do except in times I find myself outmatched, which itself is also rare. One of the only times I've had to is against a face-off with one of the shadow people. For those that don't know, a shadow person is the perception of a patch of shadow as a living humanoid figure, sometimes interpreted as the presence of a spirit or other entity. Shadow people generally emit a fear frequency capable of causing fear, sometimes to the point of paralyzation or awakening, in which they feed off that fear. They are truly formidable foes. In my case, I found myself face to face with one. Immediately, I was paralyzed with fear. It felt irrational even in my lucid state. I was in control of my domain, and yet the fear seethed out of me. It was a primal fear, one that despite my mind remaining calm, my body knew to be afraid from instinct. After a momentary stare down, the shadow made its way towards me and got close. Real close. Our faces almost touching. I could almost make out the terrifying and ugly face of a demon, as if the shadow itself was a dark and see-through cloth when observed closely. I smiled, and I let it know that while I was afraid, I still had power. My resolution was seen as a challenge, I think. It then roared at me, which I saw as a chance to wake myself up before anything else happened. I haven't encountered it since. I very rarely reach full lucid awareness and total dream control. This allows me to control the space around me as well as people, their actions, and the laws of physics. I rarely take advantage of it. Instead, I tend to absorb my surroundings and investigate my current position. I'm not always fighting though, of course. Some dreams truly are uninterpretable. I'm starting to dream in a Neo 1 default state more and more frequently for those dreams that go without action. I'm always myself in first person. I'm never anyone else, and I'm never in any other perspective. I always know I'm dreaming, but as I've said before, even if I had such control, I rarely ever exercise it for the sake of immersion and investigation. In the most recent dream I've had, I had gotten injured on my arm. There was blood all over. An elderly couple attended to my injuries despite me telling them it's not necessary. After all, it was a dream. Sure enough, after cleaning away the blood, there was no visible injuries. The kindness they showed me made me feel some type of guilt for knowing. I told them, "You guys are in a dream. My dream." They had an initial look of mild shock, but just as quickly was dampened by a sense of realization and acceptance. They believed me because of their recent acquisition of a particular device/machine. Upon the request to see said device, they took me to a room to meet the operators. They lead me to a narrow office-like room with a row of female attendants, seated each at their own computing station. Before I had a chance to get introduced, I was awoken by an alarm. You see, I categorize my dreams into two categories, canon and non-canon, at my own discretion. I've had dreams that have also started educational journeys in my waking hours. One such dream involved an old childhood friend I had fallen out of contact with. We were in a giant study, shelves of books all around, some even piled on the floor. There was even a big whiteboard in the middle. On it were lots of equations, symbols, and sigils. The press flooded in after discovering this study. They started taking pictures of everything around. Meanwhile, my friend had left out a back door into a blizzard. I ran after him. He turns toward me and says something inaudible in the storm. He then gives me one final look of disappointment or sadness and walked into the darkness. I woke up remembering one of the symbols I saw on the whiteboard. I then tracked down that friend and told him about my dream. He's been involved with psychedelics, especially DMT, and told me stories similar to mine of lucidity and demons. He then gave me resources to look into historicism, Kalantic science, and vibrational mechanics. To conclude, after hours of research and insight, I've come up with a few meanings of it all. One is that I'm a dream agent sent to various dreamscapes, timelines, and dimensions on specific missions of information retrieval, target neutralization, and event instigation. I came to this conclusion based on a dream I had a while back, one of which I was in a transition void between dreams. I was upset and distraught, questioning the meaning of it all, desperate for answers. I was begging for an answer. Anything that would make me feel better about the madness every night. I actually have a mild case of somnophobia. The answer came to me as if from the god of dreams themselves, or perhaps the organization I work for, that I was a dream agent picked particularly for my neo ability and resistance to psych attacks. Looking into the science of sleep and dreams, dreaming has been given two major reasonings. The first is a spilling of the subconscious and its attempt to categorize the day's events within your mind and build what we call memory and personality. The second is that there's no meaning. that while sleep serves its purpose, dreaming was never intended to happen. Besides the subjective connection to source or the collective subconscious/noosphere, dreams are just a byproduct of sleep. Much in the same way, a light bulb's purpose is to provide light and yet expels heat as an unintentional effect. In this analogy, dreams are sleep's heat. Taking this into consideration though, there's still the curiosity to the science of how dreams work, intentional or not. Hopefully within our lifetimes, we can unravel and uncover the secrets of dreams and the science of consciousness. Entry number 6, written by Application Livid 6644. I am in a large ship, a mobile station. This is a common theme that I'm familiar with. Often, we are slingshotted around rogue planets and moons, or watching light drain into a hole. Sometimes we're looking down at continents on the night side of a planet, seeing them light up like stars by their cities. A part of it always feels like a duty being carried out. We have smaller vessels or mech suits that transport us. Sometimes we interact with fighter jets. In those dreams, the Earth is lit up like daytime, yet the atmosphere is not reflective in blue. We can see all the stars. This time, we're outside of our quadrant of the galaxy, in interstellar space. The ship is uniquely shaped, different than usual, almost like it's a cell, with a cell wall, a cell membrane, and a large central vacuole with a floating crystal. We are preparing for intergalactic travel towards Andromeda. Yet, Andromeda is a lot closer. In fact, it's close enough that our outermost stars have passed through Andromeda's disk. So far, all star systems are unbothered. You wouldn't even know it. I feel myself gently move in towards my cohabitants, and I sweetly say, Andromeda, and I repeat it, like a love song. Then somehow, by some choice of ours, everything is moving, like the two galaxies are alive. I can see their movement. They're dancing. Our vessels spin in tandem. Suddenly, I feel a connection back to my home on Earth. I miss everything. Surely that story isn't over yet. I am alarmed by this feeling, and request we stop the process. We can't be out here. We're hurting, I state to my cohabitants. But it's just me. I'm hurting. We stop, and they begin preparing for re-entering space-time. A part of me knows that I asked for this. I wanted to see this event, but the human part of me, who is in love with the sun, the earth, and the moon, had become mournful. I'm attached. They explained to me that it's okay that I felt that way. The earth didn't go anywhere. Time didn't pass. Everything is always everywhere. Maybe next time. Entry number 7, written by Aeon Phenomenon. I had a dream where I was hanging out in my house with one of my friends, and she brought up a town named Frogfoil. She referred to it as cut content. Not like from a game, but in real life. So I agreed to go look for it with her. We walked on the highway, and there was a guardrail. On the other side of the guardrail, there was a field of golden grass. I hopped the guardrail, and my friend followed, as well as a few people who joined us. I saw a sign that said Frogfoil, one of those wooden signs that are shaped like an arrow. I headed in the direction the arrow was pointing, and there was this rundown shack. I wasn't the first one in the shack. There was a big black dog with glowing red eyes that jumped on me and started attacking me, and in the dream, I started smacking myself. I guess I was doing that in real life too, because I smacked myself so hard that I woke up. Entry number 8, written by user/justcallme E95. There was a gray cat with the bluest eyes I had ever seen in my life, and it was playing in what looked like a crate of toys. It was energetic and didn't stop moving around, but it stared at me intently. I didn't understand why it was staring at me like this, but it seemed to move closer to me as I stared. It never left the crate. In fact, it didn't feel as though anything was moving at all. It actually felt like the space between me and the cat was getting smaller, to the point where the cat was at least a foot or two away from my face. I called for my wife. She has an obsession with all things cat, and two of her favorite cats just so happen to be Siamese and gray cats with blue eyes. Ironically enough, that's not why I called her over. I needed her to witness what I was staring at, because I needed the validation that I wasn't crazy. It was the same kind of feeling one would get from staring at a cup seamlessly floating in the center of a room. You'd want someone to see that too. As I called for my wife, she yelled back to tell me that she was coming. Never taking my eyes off the cat, I used my peripheral to check for my wife's presence. I called for her again, and again she told me to hold on. As I scanned the room with my peripheral for my wife, I made out what seemed to be the outline of her body. She moved in my direction, but never grew closer to me. Her image remained blurry and distorted, but I knew it was her. She didn't seem to question her surroundings, neither why she couldn't reach me, or why we were in a strange house with strange features. All the while, the cat and I maintained eye contact. Unfortunately, the cat was hidden just barely around the corner that led into the hallway. The cat that was on the crate remained up against the wall, centimeters away from the corner's edge, perfectly and almost intentionally out of sight so that my wife stood no chance of seeing it even from an angle. It was almost as if it was meant for my eyes only. While I stared at the cat, I checked for my wife's arrival. I noticed that the cat began to effortlessly and almost involuntarily shapeshift its face and features in indescribable ways, never losing its color gray and the blue eyes, but applying the colors differently. At times it seemed as though it had a human childlike face with blue skin but still had the body of a small animal. Not necessarily a cat, but relative to a furred creature, a fox or a raccoon may come to mind. Just as soon as I could focus on these distortions, it was a cat again. Its eyes never diverted from mine as it did this, and I wasn't afraid of it. It never seemed to pose a threat to me. It stared at me as if it wanted me to do something, and it didn't initiate any interaction or something of that nature. The cat's face never held expression. I could not read an intention, but I felt safe. There was trust here, and I didn't know exactly why that was. Under almost all circumstances, I'd run away with my stomach in my chest had I seen something like that in real life, but here somehow I knew this wasn't my reality. I knew I was somewhere entirely different and foreign to me. The cat was not malicious, but it wasn't my friend either. There was something I was supposed to do or say, but it had no intention of harassing me. It was simply waiting patiently for me to figure it out. That's the best way I can describe it. What I was supposed to figure out, I still don't know, but I did make a choice. I made the decision to remove myself from the setting and exit my dream. My eyes never left the gaze of the cat, but my focus did shift off of the cat, and almost instantly I was met with a door in the middle of nowhere. No features, no surroundings, just a random door that stood in my place held by nothing. I opened the door and was flashed with the brightest of lights. I walked through the door with no hesitation. An instant, high-pitched ringing grew in my ear that I can't explain. It grew in loudness, and it was accompanied by pressure in my ear that I can only describe as beyond painful and uncomfortable, like having a suction cup placed directly into my ear canal. I felt the sensation of an immense pressure. The high-pitched ring remained present, growing stronger by the moment. It felt invasive in my brain, but there was a slight harmony to it that I cannot describe. The discomfort was unbearable, and that's what woke me from my dream. I don't know what any of this means. Could be completely random, but I laid in my bed contemplating and thinking. Fresh in my mind, I felt the strong urge to write my dream down for the very first time. Entry number 8, written by user/no creative name. I just had the most batshit dream. Probably the weirdest dream I've had in a while. Okay, so I dreamed that I was working at a zoo or like a wildlife sanctuary. Apparently I was a bonobo behavior specialist. After much study, we concluded that it was not possible because their voice boxes were shaped differently than humans, so they couldn't replicate the same frequencies of sounds. So we took the bonobo and surgically removed his larynx and replaced it with a human one. Then we tried to teach him how to speak, but all we got was some kind of human-sounding grunts. Just when we were about to give up, the bonobo opened his mouth and said, "I like your cut, G," and proceeds to rip the larynx out of his throat and slap it into mine, thus giving me 2. I screamed doubly, and then woke up. My subconscious is a very strange place indeed. I think it's entry number 8, written by Heyo1732. Last night, I had a very strange dream. For context, I have been watching the crap out of Naruto lately. For the first time, too. I have grown to really like Hinata. I just recently finished a scene where she finally confesses to Naruto that she loves him. I was running around, calling her name, asking people where she was, etc. Thing is, I couldn't find her. Every time I went to the next area and she wasn't there, I felt more and more alone. This continued on for a little bit, and I never found her. I woke up. When I woke up, the area around my spine was cool, and my outside back area was hot, but I, myself, was not hot, just my back was. Then I realized it wasn't Naruto's voice calling out for Hinata, it was mine. It was my voice speaking and my arms that I saw in the dream. When I woke up, I also had a feeling like Naruto did. I felt devoid of love, although I've had an amazing girlfriend for over a year. I don't know what this is. My girlfriend said it could be a superstitious type thing telling me that someone important to me is gonna die or disappear, but I don't know. What are your thoughts? Entry number 9, written by Av Bitten. In this dream, I had a beautiful 9-year-old daughter with gorgeous long black hair. I can see her so vividly, but I don't have children in real life. Not due to infertility or anything, I'm just not at that life stage yet. She felt so real I could touch her, smell her, etc. It's been 9 hours since I woke up, and I can't stop thinking about her. My dream starts off with her running out of the front door of our home. It looks like one of those tiny townhomes. She was rushing to play at a playground across the street, but she forgot her shoes. I started chasing after her to tell her to go back inside to get her shoes. I catch up to her and swoop her into a hug and pick her up. She's giggling, and I made a joke about her being a little barefooted monster. I can feel so much love for this girl, stronger than anything I've ever felt in real life. I then realize I cannot remember how to get back home. I have memory loss issues in real life, by the way. We wander around with her in my arms asking people if they know where we live. I become increasingly more stressed. I realize it's time for class, and I can remember how to get to my college campus, which doesn't exist in real life. I get to my class, which looks like a conference room in a library without any tables, just chairs. I set my daughter down in a spare chair and give her some notebook paper and pens to color. I pray someone doesn't notice her lack of shoes because it's the middle of winter. By the way, it wasn't at the beginning of the dream. And I fear if someone notices, she'll be taken away. As class is starting, a character that looks and sounds like the coach from Glee beckons me with her finger to the side of the classroom and discreetly tells me and my daughter to come to her office after class. I don't know why. Not knowing stresses me out. Fast forward to the end of class. I realize I don't know where the teacher's office is. I try asking the teacher, but she just points over a balcony to what looks like an exercise class for senior citizens. So I go back carrying my daughter and we wander the halls while also carrying my heavy book bag. My back and knees ache. I find the office, step inside, and we sit in chairs across the front desk. I squeeze my daughter's hand and look at the little window in the door, and something slams against it. It was a hand of a pale, zombie-like creature. Suddenly, we're squished in the back seat of a sedan. The coach from Glee is driving. There's 2 men in the car, one in the front passenger seat and one in the window seat in the back. I'm sitting in the other window seat, and my daughter is sitting in the middle. We are driving away from a college on a dirt road going faster than comfortable. A bunch of zombie-like creatures are chasing us, and they are inhumanly fast. The 2 men are texting each other in the car, but I can't see what. The guy in the back seat suddenly grabs my daughter by the shirt and yeets her through the window. She flies backwards away from the car, and you can see the horde of zombies swarm her. I try to open my door to jump out and help her, but the door is locked, so I try to go out the window. The 2 men start yelling and holding me back. They keep trying to calm me down and say stuff like, "It'll be fine. It had to be done. You can just make another one, alright?" And then I woke up sobbing because my fictional daughter got eaten alive. Entry number 10, written by user/nomouse6843. So this morning, while trying to reset my sleep schedule, I drink a coffee, which normally knocks me out. I'm not really sure why, but they always make me sleepy. It started off as a dream that I could not control, and I was scaling up a large building that was collapsing with a bunch of people in fancy suits and white masks. We acquired a couple of items from the top floor before getting into a helicopter. We then went back to the base of operations, and the main boss guy, who had a mask identical, showed me a pool room with a lot of people swimming. In this weird room was a full-body VR station. I have never in my life used a genuine VR. He told me that if I used this machine, it would allow me to do anything I wanted and would help train me for future missions. This instantly piqued my interest, and as I plugged into the machine, everything felt lucid. I now had full control over what was happening. Once the machine kicked on and the VR world loaded, I was on top of a building practicing my fighting with a faceless, what I assume, AI. The AI started to become sad about our fighting, so I decided to become friends. With it, he showed me a bit about what was possible. We both jumped off the top of the building like superheroes and landed on the ground. I then decided I wanted to try food. The first thing I manifested was a tree. Not just any tree, an apple tree. I bit into the apple, and it was tasteless, so I decided to try to make them golden apples similar to the ones in Minecraft. They were also tasteless, so I changed the apple into a piece of chicken. I took a couple bites, and I couldn't really taste anything, which is weird to me, because previously in a lucid dream, I always could taste the items. Growing bored of the idea, I got a couple more people to appear, and we got into this really fancy muscle car, when suddenly some cops started chasing us. We were invincible, which made it boring, so I thought, I wish I could die. Not in a depressive way, just in a way to make the fighting feel a little more real. This worked. Sadly, I stumbled off of a building that we had climbed onto, and I landed on my back. Everything was black. Nothing was happening, so I decided to try just to log out, which woke me up into reality. My back is extremely sore from landing on hard cement and being shot, but this is by far one of the most memorable lucid dreams I've ever had and by far the coolest, so I figured I'd share. And that is the end of the video. Thank you so much if you made it this far, I love you. If you're new here, please give the video a thumbs up, ring the bell, and subscribe in whichever order you please, baby. It don't matter. If you didn't like it, thanks for the watch time, loser. If you're in a dream right now, someone's chasing you. Someone's chasing you. Run right now. He's behind you. He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you. No. Ah, did I wake you up? I'm so sorry. The reason I did that was because I need you to get up, go on X, formerly known as Twitter, give me a nice little follow, subscribe to the channel, like and subscribe and like and hit the bell button, and yeah, it'll really help me out because I really want this to be a career because I'm a jobless loser and I spend too much time on the internet, and this will just give me an excuse to stay on the internet and get paid for it. I mean, I would really enjoy that. Like that's been a dream since I was like 12. So it would mean a lot to me. Thank you. If I pissed you off, please let me know in the comment section. Tell me what your favorite dream was. Thank you for watching, and have a good night.